Welcome back to Passing Time with Craig. As always, I'm your host, Craig. And now, some of you may or may not know, but I was on a little web series called Survivor Calgary. I was on season 3, where I ended up taking the crown and being the ultimate sole survivor of that season. I was brought back for season 4, a little all-stars season. Did not win, had a big target on my back, but I made it pretty far. The newest season, season 5 of Survivor Calgary, just finished airing, and we have our new winner, Joel. And Joel is joining me on the podcast today. I'm excited to chat with him. We talked about what it's like to be a winner, what our friends and family think about it, our gameplays, what's awesome, how stressful it can be, and it was a blast talking with Joel. I absolutely adore that person, and I look forward to having beers with him in the future. So please enjoy my chat with season 5 Calgary winner Joel.
I'll give my one shout out today. I still have my Buy Cutie award that I won, or I got used against.
Yes.
I'm pretty proud of that. But yeah, big Bourne fan, big Survivor Calgary fan, and I think I'm of the 5 winners. I think I might be dubbed the luckiest winner because I'm the only winner that objectively should have gone home at one point. Had like a player error not been made, you know?
There were several moments. So before we get to that, did you were you a Survivor fan before this? Like not just Survivor Calgary, but like Survivor in general?
Like yes and no. Like I'd seen probably about 2 seasons of Survivor before this. I'd seen the all winners season and maybe like 1 or 2 other seasons. Of course, most people know about Survivor.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I was an avid Survivor watcher. I just thought it was a really cool game show. But I didn't really keep up with the show a whole lot. How I kind of got back into it was my buddy Cam and then a couple of my other friends. They played a lot of the online Survivor games. And then Cam had done season 2 and season 4. He's like, hey, man, you got to sign up for this. So when they talked about that, I watched Survivor Calgary season 4, my first one, like the All-Stars season. I was like, this is so cool. Like the fact that they're doing this in Calgary, it's such a cool concept. So I actually got into, I think I'm as much of a Survivor fan as a Survivor Calgary fan, I would be honest. So
Yeah, I mean, I was the same. I watched
not like I wouldn't be I don't consider myself like a guy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I watched the original. I remember watching the first 3 seasons, like when the first all started, and it was all exciting, and we're like, "This is cool." And then I think I watched Survivor All Stars or something like that, just because it's like, "Oh, people are coming back." So, but I really hadn't watched it in forever. And then they're like, "Hey, do you want to be on Survivor Calgary?" I was like, "Well, that seems weird and fun. Sure, why not?"
Yeah. Why not? I think it's what most people sign up for. It's like, hey, you want to do this? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I'll go drink in the bush for a weekend and play some games and see where it lands me.
Yeah, I was like, okay, please don't. My goal was not to be the first person out. That was my first goal, was like, don't be the first person out.
Yeah.
So I was thankful that that didn't happen. So you said you're the luckiest winner. Did you have any game plan going in?
Like nothing definitive. Like I did, like I wasn't like I need to win this, but I think most people's strategy is I'm there for the weekend. Please don't make me the first one out. Like,
Yeah.
please, for the love of God. And I like in the conversations, if you watch back to the first episode, it was kind of a toss up between me and Kayla based on the edit. Unfortunately, like for Kayla, it was mostly being the returning player. I think she was just kind of at a loss from the get-go, but that was everyone's first goal. And then after that, it was just like make it as far as possible because obviously I wanted to have fun and not backstab too many people. And I'm not like an overly competitive person, but I have a little bit of competitive bone in my body. And after making to the first eliminations, like let's just see how far we can get going. and like everyone's like, oh, I'm just here for fun, and it's partly that, but also partly to win too. So I guess my initial strategy was just a kind of balance. I think most winners that you see are not like too far above the radar. You don't want to be like so far under the radar though that you're just non-existent, like how we can get rid of you. So it's kind of finding that balance in the middle ground, which ended up being my strategy at the end of the day. Mostly relying on social game and just getting, I think really getting people to like you goes a long way. And I think you ran into that, not problem, but like if I can think of past winners, like you were a very well liked person, like Robin as well, Taylor. I didn't know Tim very well, but he seemed like he was just kind of dominant. But you have to kind of be liked in the survivor aspect of the sense as to make it far. And that gets you further, I think, than just challenge wins or anything. And just if you can make people seem like you're not a shitty person and then just give that illusion, that's what I tried to do. So
Yeah, well, that's why I wore my Trivia Daddy hat the whole time because I was like, people are just gonna be like, this
yeah,
guy's just here to have fun. He's drinking beer. He's a good time, and I was at a good time. And I
yeah,
mean, I'm not surprised in the All-Star season when I got voted out. Like when they kept me as long as they did, they should have got rid of me sooner. Like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you
No,
got
that was a great episode.
It was so I was like, okay. I'm like everyone says they're like, well, Craig, you got one of the biggest blind sides of the season. I was like, well, that's true.
I would say in watching all of Survivor Calgary, that was probably the most well edited blind side that I've seen. I've seen all of the episodes too. So.
Yeah.
And you know what? That I kind of relied on that too a little bit. Like I didn't have like a trivia daddy hat, or it wasn't like having a beer in my hand. My strategy was beer, water, alternating like each episode.
Yeah.
And I think it made me loosen up, but also I did kind of rely on the fact that he doesn't know a whole lot about Survivor. He doesn't kind of seem like he knows what he's doing. So there was that inherent trust that like he's probably not going to make a huge blindside on me. And ultimately, like I really pushed for getting Maeve out, and they were a big player in that season, but
Yeah.
I didn't push for a lot of like big blind sides or whatnot. I was a little bit more go with the flow as opposed to play shells. I played to my advantage where people trusted that like this is, he's saying that he's probably not going to vote me out or not play. And that really, I think that was a huge advantage that I don't think he's taking it too seriously and he's going to make too many like crazy moves. I think that's a huge strategy in itself too. So I wear a metaphorical trivia daddy hat, I think. So, yeah.
Metaphorical trivia daddy hat. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was gonna say like because that's a key to the game. Unless you have the like votes every single time. You got to be careful with
Yeah.
those big moves and big plays. And you had the right watching
Yeah.
your season. I felt you did a great job of being on the right side when need be, knowing, okay, I need to kind of move over towards these people. This is where
Yeah.
okay, it'd be great if we could do this vote. I don't think it's going to happen. I need to
Yeah.
stay in. I'm going to stick with those people. So, yeah, I think you did an excellent job of that.
Because I remember I got criticized like by a couple of my friends that are big Survivor Calgary fans. Like, oh, like specifically, probably one of the biggest critiques that I can remember was immediately after merge when Jared got voted out. Ali, who was my kind of ally mate, was more so at the ugly traps at that point. Was she kind of had a moment where she's like, the numbers are saying let's vote Jared. And I didn't really want to vote out Jared. He was an ally with Ben. Like ultimately down the road, it split Ben from Jared, so I was closer to Ben because I mean, part of a strategy too is that you don't want your allies to have too many friends. You want to be a little selfish and hug them towards yourself. So ultimately, I think that ended up well for me. But I was kind of critiqued of, well, we actually, if you thought about the numbers, you could have probably saved Jared. But then the flip side is that right after that vote, the next challenge was I forget the name of the challenge, it's the water gun one where you make votes for people
Yeah.
and you get names and whatnot. And like immediately Chelsea was named as like a big threat, everyone's closest ally. It's like, okay, she was the one that swung that vote. We have 9 people left and she's already seen as a big target. Obviously, she did great. I think Chelsea was probably like theoretically the strongest player of our season. She made it to final 3. She would have won if her or Ali won that marble challenge, like hands down. Like it's just fact. But like you don't want to be a big threat that early in the game. So I remember getting them, but I was pretty happy playing my comfortable strategy, also being able to wrangle down 10 people and be super convincing because I'm also a terrible liar.
Yeah.
And that kind of played to a benefit because people just started to trust me because they know he's probably not lying to me. I lied bold faced to a couple people. Like in the 3rd episode, I lied to Tegan's face. I didn't really know her that well, so it was easy to do that. And that's probably the thing I feel the most guilty about all of Survivor was one person I met, and I think people trusted me to not to lie and make big moves, and that ultimately I think worked for me. And then a little bit of luck, like so.
Yeah, I think, look, nobody can win this game. I don't think they can win any type of reality show without getting their hands a little dirty, right? Like you kind of have
No.
to. You don't want to be. I think we've seen that in previous reality shows that you can be the complete bold-faced liar villain, Dr. Will from Big Brother, you can do that and end up winning, but you realizing that you have to have some kind of sense of being a good person to still win the game. You also
Yeah.
won challenges when needed to be. Like that's I feel is key. You didn't showcase that like if you win every single challenge, then that first time you don't win the immunity, you're done.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it also helped too that like all the challenges I won were near the end.
yeah,
Like the it sure, but I won like debatably the two most important challenges, which were the second last, the last challenge. Like the last challenge, obviously, bring yourself to final two is huge. Like I had the immunity necklace. Come on, like that's just they gave me that narrative and that symbolism, and it was just, but like it's very strategic which challenges you win too,
yeah,
and obviously it's immunity if you win a challenge, but you don't want to win too much either. It's just finding that balance. And do I think I perfected it? No, but I got lucky in what things went right for me. And really, like it comes down to it, luck was a factor. Like, had like the biggest thing is like if Alora just played her vote right and like no shade on her, she just made an oopsie. Like
yeah.
we're all stressed that weekend, like we're all a little bit high, a little bit drunk, and we just make mistakes. And it just that was one of those hilarity out for me. Like if I believed in God, God wanted me to be there that next episode, and it just worked. It just worked out. That's all I can say. It just worked out as how this survivor thing happened. So
What was it actually like? So we saw it on camera, but what was it like for everybody when they realized, oh shit, she had an extra vote that she could have used?
so I didn't know, like I knew, well, I had a very strong feeling that she had that extra vote, but like that tribal was such a blur, right? It was
Yeah.
just, hey, it's a split vote. You have like 4 or 5 minutes to talk amongst yourself. So I didn't process that like maybe she forgot to play the split vote. It wasn't until after that Jared told to me that I realized that. And that's very well captured on camera. I just like hysterically started laughing. And I probably came off as a little bit offensive. It was less that like, hey, you're an idiot, more like this is just a hilarious thing that tended to happen. But I think a lot of the people that were blindsiding me knew about it, and they were kind of thinking on the radar like, Jesus, like what the fuck? Like you screwed this up. But I didn't know about it till after the vote. So it, it just kind of hit me like a train all at once. And then right after that vote, my number one ally, Ben, gets voted out. And I realistically, I probably should have seen that coming. But I was just so much on cloud nine of like, oh, they saved me. Things just worked out for me. I'm just gonna go with the flow on this one and try to make it to day three. So it really didn't hit me till after that happened. But I think other people knew right away, and they were kind of a little bit miffed about that, and that's why they ultimately turned on Alora as opposed to like saving me because I'm fun to work with or a good person. So,
Yeah.
but I took it as we want to work with Joel, even though it's probably she screwed up. Let's get her out.
So you mentioned Ben. You guys had a strong alliance. We saw that in the episodes. But he was a big personality too, and he was winning challenges, and he was a big game talker. How important for you was it for you to keep him around so the spotlight would always be on him until that moment where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
now if I need to stay in the game, you need to go.
Yeah. Are you talking about Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ben, I think by part of it was he was really good to work with. But personally, I just also fell in love with the dude. Like he was my survivor crush from day one. So that was partly I wanted to keep him around. But it was good having he kind of felt like a shield to me. He was the one that was the smarter player, I think, than me. He was the one that was scheming a little bit more. And when you watch back the episodes, he pretty much knew about everyone's advantages, where I was kind of like, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense. So it's very important to have a shield. But I think I kept him around less of a shield and more as just, it didn't really capture on the episodes, but our conversations were very short during the intense parts of it because it was just very, this is this is that. XYZ, they're voting for this, they're voting for this. What do we do? Boom. Okay, let's go talk to people. We just had an understanding and we just had trust for each other. So I wanted to keep him around as long as possible. Less of a number, less of a shield, and that he's more of a target than me because I think I ended up getting targeted more than him, even though he got voted out before I did, obviously. I think it's just more so we just worked so well together. I wanted to keep him around to the end. And it was also a bit of a blessing, too, that my number one ally mate, I didn't end up having to vote out because I don't think I would have,
Yeah.
even though it sounds stupid. Like, yeah, you want to win. and it's $500 and great beer. But I think that would have been where I drew the line. Like I voted out really close friends from home, Jared, Trent. I lied to Tegan's face, Chelsea. I had to vote out, but for some reason, Ben was that one person where I was like, I just can't turn on him. If he turns on me, that's how it is. But I just had this intense bonding moment in a very short period that I haven't felt with like anyone in a very long time. And it's so hard to explain that because Survivor is just so intense. Oh, me and my friend Jared talked about it. He was both, we're Team Ben for life.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben was it was great. And like but people who have not experienced Survivor Calgary, just watched it, seem to forget that like it is over 3 days. It is jam packed.
Yeah.
It moves so fast. You have to develop these relationships with people, but it also is such a great experiment of how can you actually trust these people because you don't have that time. Like when I try to explain to people that, you know, okay, so it's me and these three people are talking and we're gonna vote Joel out. That's our plan. The four of us are solid. We're gonna vote Joel out. Okay, we're gonna go chat with everybody else. You're gonna go chat with this person. I'll chat with this person, and then
Yeah.
I go chat with you, and you're like, yeah, I hear that we're voting out Melissa, and I'm like, did they just tell Joel that, or is that actually what's happening, and I'm not in the loop? Like,
Yeah.
you have no time. You've only got 20 minutes.
It really is like it's so intense because normal Survivor is like 3 days in the show to people. It's hour and a half for challenge, deliberation, 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes up to like 40, and then tribal council. And really, it's the caution you have with one person that might be the only time you talk to them. And you just have to gain that trust. And a lot of it is just it's a lot of shooting from the hip and a lot of just day one alliances. I feel like matter a little bit more in Survivor Calgary than in True Survivor because you have so much time to develop relationships. They're all sleeping together, like not fucking, but like, there's
I
pick
don't
pass and
know. Maybe there's
whispers.
stuff I'm not seeing. I
Yeah.
watch the show more.
Yeah. So, like at least I slept alone, but anyway, but like it really is, you just have to go a little bit more off of gut in this show. And I think that's what makes it so beautiful. It's just like, you just cannot play the strategies because when you compare Survivor Calgary to regular Survivor, yeah, like when you think about it, okay, we could blindside this person or they might have this, this, and this. But when you have 20 or 30 minutes, at least I play numbers. I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to lose a major ally mate. I'm going to make that play work because that just makes sense. As much as you have like the high IQ players like, Cole or Chelsea or Camping, like, well, I analyzed it and could have this. Were you there? Were you there when Allie gave me a weird look when she said, hey, I don't trust this person. I think I'm going to vote this. Or when a very powerful player says, this is what we're doing. There's literally fucking 5 minutes till tribal and it's not your name. I think I'm just going to pick what gets me to the next one because at the end of the day, yeah, it's good to think long term, but also you got to play one day at a time. As someone who has anxiety and thinks too much far into the future, it was really interesting how I could hold my brain to just one tribal at a time, just keep moving it. Because Max was thinking 2 tribals at a time. I wasn't thinking my final 2 plan because who knows if you're going to get there. It's just one tribal at a time. And if it's not your name, that's even better.
Yeah, that was me. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I said I don't want to be the first person out. Wasn't the first person out, so then I was like, okay, hopefully I can make it to a merge. And then like there just became these little like stepping stones, but at no point I was like, I'm gonna make it all the way and I'm gonna win. And I think if I had that mentality going in, I probably would not have placed as well as I did that first time of like winning my season because I think it would have been I would have been too much in my head.
Yeah. Do you think you like for between your season 3 and All Stars, do you think you changed up? Like, obviously, you didn't win All Stars, which as a former winner, I think you're doomed. Like,
Oh
you
yeah.
just like, yeah, you can do it, but like, you're just such a big target. Even though, like me, as I don't consider myself like an expert Survivor player, if I did go back for a season, you're such a big target because that's what I relied on being like. I remember when there was 5 or 6 people left, Emily told me. She pulled me aside and she's like, you're a bit of a goat. I'm like, what is that? And she's like, it's someone you take to the end because you think you can win against them. And I was like, great. I love that you think that about kind of that's how you don't get voted out. But if you win the show, no matter how you got there, even if you just won by pure dumb fucking luck, like you just have to be a target. But I get my question for you is like, was there anything you would have done differently from your strategy from 3 to season 4 to potentially like solidify a little bit more, or do you think you were just doomed being a previous winner?
I knew I knew the road was going to be hard to get another win, especially back to
Yeah,
back wins, like because my season was so fresh in everybody's
yeah,
minds.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
Tim and Robin, I was like, maybe people can kind of forget about them. But I knew that we were targeting the winners. So my strategy was kind of going in. I, I went in trying to be like, I'm having just as much fun as this last time. I've already won. Let me take you. So I was trying to have that with
Yeah.
alliance members being like, no, I've already won. Let me take you all the way to the end here. Cut me loose at final three or whatever. Ideally, I would win the final immunity once again and then go to the finals, and I think I would have won. But I don't know. It very
So
much
same strategy.
yeah,
I promise you. Yeah.
was pretty much it. Like this worked for me.
And
So I don't know. I was like,
yeah,
it was
still did be fun. Honestly,
I was the last winner in the game.
it is tough. Like when I think about how I would have played this game differently, like obviously I wouldn't have played my game differently because it won and I just got lucky in that sense. I think if I ever did come back, I would try to come out swinging a little bit more and
Yeah.
try to be more of a dominant person. I don't think that would work because as the dominant person, you have to be comfortable at lying. And there's some very key moments. Like one part that they indirectly caught on camera was the May vote, where Chelsea, Maeve's number one ally, comes up to me and she said, "Who are you voting for?" And I was voting for Maeve, and I couldn't lie, and I said, Jared, and she's like, Jared hasn't said it. I just told her like I'm voting out Maeve, and I don't have that ability to point blank lie in strategies. But I think if I needed to come back, I would just need to focus on lying and just trying to be that control power. I would have to try to play like a completely different game because they wouldn't believe that Joel, like he's not gonna do anything else. He's not gonna lie because like obviously he made it to the end, so like he's done some sneaking around. I don't trust that guy anymore, and so I would rely less on people innately trusting me and more so like I'm gonna try to get you out. How that would work out remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely there was moments, especially the All-Star season, where, I had that strong what I thought was a strong alliance with Sydney and Cam and Taylor, and Jackson. Like, we had this strong five, and there was a point where I could have switched sides, like Robin and I forget who else, but there was a few people that were like, and I was basically like the swing vote. We could I could stick with my original lines, or I could go work with Robin, which would keep another winner in. And um, but I knew I wanted to stick with I was like, this time I'm going to be very loyal to these people, so I wanted to stick with this strong alliance. But I still couldn't even just say to like that. I just kind of avoided the conversation and the question. When like, well, who are you voting for? Who are you voting out? It was very hard for me to be like, just flat out lie, be like, oh, I'm voting with you guys. I was just like, well, let me see. I got to do what's best for my game. So I thought I would be better at big, bold lies, which is good thing I am not. So let me ask you this.
Yeah, but not in
Is there any player from your season that you wish you got to work more with?
yes, a couple. I would say player that you could really see once Trent got voted out. He even says it. He's like, I'm entering phase two. The wheels are turning, cogs are spinning. I'm starting to be strategic because he was playing that persona. Like he's a smart dude. He was playing like the kind of the dumb fanboy, like yeah, win challenges. We're never going to lose again. But obviously, Trent and him are smarter than that. They're just putting that persona. When Trent got voted out, you could see like that's where his engineer brain starts to kick in. I would have worked for him. I don't think Mitch would have taken me to the end, especially being like two just big gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would have worked, but also I think he would have turned on me. But I was working forward with Mitch a little bit better. I would have liked to have snuck into the Maeve alliance, but there was a very clear point where, and Maeve and I even talked about it during a post Survivor recap. Like, I was just done trying to maneuver things and lie, but I specifically remember trying to weave in with them, and it just didn't work out. So I was like, okay, strong player. I don't feel like they want to work with me. I kind of cut them out. And then one I kind of regret as well was Alora.
Yeah.
Because me and Alora, we talked about, I ultimately think like Ben had the snake oil idol, but if I didn't leak it to Chelsea, like me and Alora would have swung that May vote easily. That I think that was mine and her doing with the benefit of Ben having the snake oil on her. The reason I flipped on Alora the next one, I honestly, that one, I don't fully understand why I did. I think it's because in her vote out episode or her recap, she says, I would have kept Joel along for a couple more episodes and I probably would have voted him off. So I think partly I sensed that.
Mm-hmm.
Partly I think it was a power hungry thing of I was just so comfortable with Ben. I felt comfortable with Allie and Chelsea and Jared. I thought I could trust at the time. And I just thought, let's just take out, I sense her as like the next power player because she partly orchestrated that vote. I was like, well, let's cut her off knees too and get her out. But that one I kind of regret because even though she said, like, I probably would have taken out Joel a couple episodes later and she seemed like a very smart and powerful player, I think I could have worked with Alora and it was my fault that our relationship crumbled and then she came after me because she was smart enough to realize, yeah, Joel's targeting me. And she was right because I had a weird sense and I was like, why not her? It was more of a gut feeling rather than this makes the absolute most strategic sense. And partly too, as I was on the radar most of the game, so I was like, let's just start chopping off big players. Right after that, that was where I said, you know what? I'm taking a break from chopping off people. Let's just let the people that are good at lying do this because I just can't. So I wish I worked with Mitch and Alora more. But at the end of the day, Ben and Allie were kind of my ally mates. In the very first episode where we voted out Kayla, we had a moment of we feel really good about this three and never made it onto camera. And I never had to vote out Ben. And Allie probably would have taken Chelsea rather than both. I think she would have had a better shot against me than. But I made out of my ally mates, I didn't have to vote one of them. I didn't have to vote either of them out, and one of them made it to the final three with me. So I wanted to work with those people the most at the start of the game, and I got to work with them throughout the game, which is a blessing because not everyone gets to do that with their ally mates. So
Yeah, no, it's a rare thing, and I know my first season when I won that final immunity challenge like you did, I knew I needed to bring Kayla. I knew that I was possibly nervous because Kayla did such a strong game. She managed to win her way back, but I was like, I have to bring Kayla with me. And so you mentioned that like Chelsea would probably have won if she was in the final two. Did you know immediately as soon as you won that final immunity, did you know it was going to be Allie 100%?
yeah, absolutely. Like I know I talked to Chelsea and Allie. Honestly, I think once I heard Tom's name say, yep, Joel with the Marvel Challenge, I think I knew that I won the game at that point. You can see it in my interviews with Allie and Chelsea. Like I'm full on autumn born brewing. Like I'm downing that beer pretty easily. I was very comfortable. So I knew at that point right away I was going to take Allie. Not that Allie didn't play a good game, and also watching the season, Allie does not get enough credit for comfortable social position, which is a very difficult thing to do. It's a very, very easy game to criticize, is flying under the radar along with strong people. But she was so safe that entire game. Her name does not come up very much. And Chelsea was just the obvious. And really it solidified it when I asked Chelsea, like, hey, what were Allie's big moves? And she couldn't even give me that answer. But even before then, I knew Allie, partly because I wanted to bring my Allie mate to the top. I didn't think with certainty I can beat her. I just had a feeling that I could because I know I'm a good public speaker. And it's really good for the one-on-one tribal. And then it was just like, Allie's played a little bit more under the radar. We've had a very similar game, and I know I can sell my game better than Allie. And yeah, it just worked out.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did work out for you, though. That's for sure. Now, of course,
It worked out.
we're the new season's being filmed, but for future players, what's your advice for future Survivor Calgary players?
Luck. That's not advice. It's mostly like have fun. Like if you get voted out early or the game doesn't work out for you, obviously that's easy for someone who it did work out for to say, it's no big deal, it just happens because we all want to do well. And like I think like one part of the season that really hurt me was seeing Alora after she screwed up and she got voted out because she was like in tears. She's like, I feel like I screwed up, blah, blah, blah. But just remember, it's a game. We're literally here for television. Like, I don't think I was the most interesting TV character. So even though Laura feels like she screwed up and didn't win, I think she made better TV than I did. And I think she was such an interesting player to see. But most importantly, like, have fun. Remember, it's a game. As far as strategy to making it through to the first episode, no one wants to go home first. I think I played the line of, I remember people telling me, don't name drop too many names. And then in my edit, it got criticized as, oh, Joel's not said anyone's name. I don't trust anyone. So don't drop too many names. But in your first tribal, pick a couple of people that you're comfortable with, get with them, go with their vote. Don't be too non-committal, but don't say we need to vote out this person. And then as it gets further, trust your ally mates. Don't try to make the biggest plays, but you're going to have to get your hands dirty a little bit and know that it is okay to lie and get comfortable lying, because there's no benefit to in this game of Survivor just because everyone has.
You have to. You have to. What did your friends and family think about your season and you winning, your gameplay? Like, were people shocked? Did they know it?
So right off the bat, obviously I spoiled to my mom that I just like couldn't. And I'm a little butthurt. My family hasn't watched the entire show. And I'm like, guys, like I won the freaking show. Like just watch the show. But I think my friend Celeste in particular and her friend group, so Aaron and Chu included, they were my closest friends that didn't know that I won the game, because a lot of my close friends were there, so they already knew. And they actually came down to Calgary thinking, okay, I think it's gonna be Jared or Emily. And when they got voted out, and it was like episode like, didn't you? And you lied to us that you did one, because I lied to them saying I absolutely did not win. And then when I made the finale, I didn't even know about that. But I just thought it was so cool that they were pretty proud of me, and they were like, yeah, you played exactly how we thought you would play. You're a bit of a mumbler. You are not good with stressful conversations. You're very straight to the point. And sometimes that comes off as being untrustworthy, but we think you stuck true to yourself. And it was like, yeah, I played the game that I think Joel would play. And just in this particular season, it worked out. In other seasons or other scenarios, would it have worked out? Maybe not, but today it did. So to my friends that watched it, I think it was pretty cool that they were pretty proud of me. I have to shout out Cam. I've shouted him a lot this season. He shit on my play a lot because we are very opposite players. He is a power play, and all I have to say is that I won. You got voted out 3 times. Sorry, dude. So just be happy for me. I'm sorry. And then to my mom and dad, just watch the freaking show. Holy, it's entertaining TV. Even though sometimes you can't hear me over the subtitles because I'm mumbling, most of the other characters you can hear just fine. So.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a few friends, and my sister in particular, excited to watch it. So she watched it, and there was a point where she's like, Craig, I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to just kind of like fast forward until I saw that you were on screen. She's like, but now I'm invested in all these people.
Yeah.
Like, she got right into it. At one point she sent me a text. I forget when, but she was like, if you turn on Kayla, I will be pissed. I was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
you're my sister.
Yeah, my friend Celeste did that. They're like, we don't, like, right off the bat, they're like, we don't trust Ben. We're mad that you voted out Kayla. I was like, you know what? Spoiler alert, I liked Ben a lot, and we worked together well this season. And then, yeah, after every episode, and then I remember for the Alora Joel, like, head on head, my phone died and it crashed. I had no phone for about 5 days. And when I opened my phone, my friend Celeste, I had about 15 texts from her, like, oh my God, it's happening. Because I spoiled her that I got voted out. She's like, this is the one you get voted out. She's like, wait, no, oh my God, Alora's going. And it's just, yeah, it was so cool. And then she was kind of my play-by-play of the season. Side note, her thoughts were she thought Maeve and Chelsea were the strongest players this season too. So it was really cool reliving this season of respect, because I was there already. I remember a lot of what happened. I know how everything went. So it's seeing it through fresh. And that's why I'm really excited for season 6. I'm not actually going to be able to, I just switched jobs. So I have no vacation time. So I can't get that time off. But I'm really looking forward to watching season 6 fresh as just a viewer and just seeing how it plays out. So
yeah, it's fun once you've experienced it, because I obviously did season 3 and 4 back to back. Didn't make it out last year. So I had no idea what was going to happen with your season. And so it was so much fun to watch. I was like invested and stressed, and like the surprises, the twist. And I was like, what does this mean? It was.
Did you think I was going to win? Like, I think I was very underrated and under the radar for most people.
So after the first episode aired, and then we got to sneak peek the second episode, Cole and Keegan came on the podcast and we talked about the season, and they asked me my thoughts, and I was like, I think Chelsea or Allie are going to do really well. And I
They
think
did.
one of them might win. They both made it to the final three, so pretty proud of myself that it was about, I'd say, halfway through the series that I was like, oh, Joel seems to be there. And
He's there.
he kind of, people don't like, he's playing a game. And like, you, I was like, huh, he's gonna go further than I maybe thought initially. So
Yeah.
I was very impressed by your entire gameplay. You won it. You're a winner, fellow winner, my friend.
Yeah. Join the club.
Yeah,
Cheers to it.
yes, yes. And of course, like they teased the new season, and there's like a gypsy themed and fortune tellers, and my card is the fool. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I looked at mine was the hanged man. I think by fool, what they meant was you were just like you were having fun. Like you
Yeah.
always had a beer in your hand. You were the Born Brewing sponsor, and that was you. That's how you won. You gave off a facade of like he's just here to have fun. Maybe he's too drunk to know what the hell's going on, but you knew down in your mind you're one of those people that he can control his alcohol, and
Oh yeah.
he's thinking he's scheming. And I looked up what mine was the hanged man, and I looked up what that meant, and it's basically it kind of has to do with the fact that you're not committing to anything. You're very safe, kind of under the radar. And it's also the hangman has a whole lot of other different meanings that I want to get into, but it really fit my gameplay pretty good. Is it's just that you're not going to commit to anything. You're very cautious and you go with certain decisions. And that ultimately that's what I ended up doing is I kind of played a little bit more of a boring game than I kind of anticipated, but I did want to win at the end of the day. And maybe I didn't make the best TV, but I made it. So
You made great TV.
about it.
You made great TV. Don't sell yourself short. You did awesome. You're a winner. Only so far, only 5 people can say they've won Survivor Calgary, and you're one of them. So, I mean, well done. Well done.
Yeah. Watch show, mom. Damn it.
Exactly. All right. Final question. I always like to ask this to my guest. It's a very like blanketed, lots of options, but I always like to ask them to tell me something awesome. What is awesome? And it could be absolutely anything.
What is awesome in general? Like this is just not a Survivor
Not a
question.
Survivor. It could be Survivor. It could be just anything.
What is awesome is those moments where you can forget your daily stresses and just live in the moment. So I don't live in the moment. And I'm a very anxious person. Like at my work, I'm a veterinarian. So like I do surgeries sometimes that are out of my comfort zone. I'll work with stuff that people have little money and I have to jerry rig things. So I don't practice always gold standard medicine. So I spend a lot of my time, like I'll wake up in the night think about, was this the best thing for this patient? Blah, blah, blah. And that extends to my personal life too, with, did I say the right thing with this person? Blah, blah. Anyway, so I spend a lot of time in my head and I don't get a lot of clear moments. Every once in a while, I get to a moment where I'm like, I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just in the moment, living and appreciating that moment. I think that happiest people are the people that can do that on a regular basis. How you do that, I fully haven't figured it out yet. I think those moments though, where you realize I'm not thinking about other things and I'm just here is awesome. Whether that's being with your family, being with your friends, hanging out with this nugget or that nugget,
Oh,
and not overthinking things and being a person. Because I think those are truly happiest people that just they don't think about the tomorrow. They don't worry about their debts. They don't worry about too many other things. They're living. And that to me is awesome. Just being able to exist because it has nothing to do with your financial status, your relationship status, how your job's going, blah, blah, blah. It's just that I'm here existing as a person and I'm happy to be alive. That is awesome.
that might be one of the most awesome answers anyone's ever given to the what's awesome question.
Oh,
Damn, Joel.
just live in the moment. And that's very hypocritical for me to say because I like even in this interview itself, like I've zoned out. I have a couple stretches on the go right now, as we all do. So you know what's awesome? It's awesome just being on this podcast and forgetting about stressors for a while. Any moment that you can just hone in, exist, and not have foggy brain is awesome. And yeah, That's my answer.
That's a great answer. Well, you anytime you want to come back on the podcast just to be awesome and distract and live in this now, I am here for you. So thank you for being here today. This was great to chat with a fellow winner.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed passing time with Craig. Really, but oh, you love to me, right? Because when you watch someone on this, Calgary YouTube channel, I feel like you get to know them pretty well. And it's weird people seeing you as like a pseudo celebrity. And every chance I've gotten to interact with you, you've actually kind of fit into your Survivor persona pretty well. Less of being an alcoholic and more so I mean like he's just a very down to earth guy. And what I think in the world is great work, whether it be a podcast, just making people smile at a brewery, making people smile on a YouTube channel. Like Craig is awesome. I'm so glad to have been invited on your podcast. And here's to Survivor season 6 and more great episodes of Passing Time.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Oh, next time you come down, we're going for drinks, we're hanging out because you're just awesome, and I wanna hang out with you more.
Let's do it.
Thank you once again, Joel, for being on the podcast. Such a treat. He was so much fun. I love him. Uh, if you're interested in being on Survivor Calgary, check out their Instagram, Survivor Calgary. Watch the previous seasons. All 5 previous seasons are available for free on YouTube. Once again, I was season 3 and season 4. Joel just won season 5. So if you're looking for something to do, go out, support, and also check out Born Brewing if you haven't in a while, because delicious beers. Make sure to follow me on social media at PTW Craig for all the fun ways to pass time. Otherwise, we'll chat soon. Bye.